Hi, I'm Tila Winfield.
I'm Teresa Grimley. We are driver trainers for the Davis County Public Schools Transportation Department.
And we are going to show you all how to do a proper pre-trip today. We're going to walk up and we are going to start here at the door. My door, it opens, it closes easily. The glass is not broken. There is no illegal stickers. My rubber seals are not dry rotted. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. My hinges are not missing. They are not rusted. It's not cracked, broken, or missing. Securely mounted, and all hardware is in place. My steps are secure. What you're looking for is your screws that are down, and it holds in your step well mats. All hardware is in place on my step well. My handrail is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. I have a guard, and my guard is in place. It is to prevent backpacks and tripping hazards. My step well light is not cracked, broken, or missing. It is securely attached, and we will check if it works when I get up in the seat. From here, we're going to do the safety equipment. So what you'll do, and you will do this every day, take your fire extinguisher off, cover off. You're looking to make sure it's ABC rated. You're making sure your pin is in place. My card, fire inspection card, is up to date, and it is securely mounted, and all hardware is in place and fully charged. Okay, now I'm going to look up here for my first aid kit. My bodily fluid kit is right here, and it is fully stocked. My first aid kit is here. It's fully stocked, and it has 6 spare fuses in it. My seatbelt cutter, it is located over here in the left-hand corner at arm's reach. You want it at arm's reach where you can get to it. My seat is securely mounted, and all hardware is in place. Seat belt, it does work. It fastens and it does release. There is no tears. It's not frayed or torn. Alright, now we're going to safe start the bus, and that means the bus is in neutral and your parking brake is on. We're going to turn the key to run, and what we're going to look for is that the ABS light comes on and off. So the key goes to run. My ABS light, it did come on and it did go off, but if it was to stay on, we would have to report that we had a ABS braking system problem to the garage. Okay, now I'm going to start it. And upon starting it, your oil pressure should rise within 10 seconds. If it did not, shut the bus off immediately. Your water should rise while driving to about 230, or it should not go over 230. Your RPMs is idling at 7. Your speedometer is at 0. It should rise as you drive. My volts is at 13.9. It should be between 12 and 15. My fuel tank is at about a half a tank of fuel. That is enough for my trip. My air tanks are at 120. They should build to 120. Now you're going to look for all your indicator lights. So my hazard indicator is right here. My indicators do work. My headlight indicator, the bright, does work. My left turning signal indicator does work. My right turning signal indicator does work. My windshield wiper fluid does work, and the spray is pointed toward the window, and it works on intermediate, high, and low. My wheel is a 20-inch wheel with no more than 2 inches of play. My horn does work. My driver heater, defrost heater, works on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now we're going to do the brake test part. So I'm going to put my bus in drive, and I'm going to rev my RPMs up between 12 and 15. My bus did not move. So now I am going to do the 5-mile-an-hour brake test. I'm going to release my parking brake, and we're going to get up to about 5 miles an hour. And you don't have to slam your brakes on. Just the way that it was done there is all you really need to do. Because you can feel your bus is not supposed to move to the pull to the left or pull to the right, and your brakes should not feel spongy when you do this test. If so, you would have to report it. Now we are going to do the lab part of it. After you do the 5-mile-an-hour brake test, now we're going to do the lab part. So my bus is in neutral and my parking brake is not applied. So I'm going to turn my bus off, and I will turn it back to run. So now that my bus is back in run, we are going to sit here a minute, and we're going to make sure that our air tanks do not lose no more than 2 psi in 1 minute. So you'll bring up your watch, and we're going to sit here for a minute. So now my minute is up, and I'm going to apply pressure to my service brake, and I should not lose no more than 3 psi in a minute. So we're going to look, and we're going to watch the watch. Or you can have a timer. Some people choose to set their timer.
All right, the paint's dry.
Okay, since my minute is up, now I am going to check the alarms and my button. I'm going to start pumping down my brakes, and my alarm should sound between 40 and 60, and my button will pop when I get to 10. My alarm sounded between 40 and 60, so now I'm going to continue to pump them down and make sure my parking brake pops out. My parking brake did pop out, so now I'm going to start my bus and let my air build up. Now we're going to go over the instrument panel over here on the side. So, my ATF works on high and low. And your ATF is your very back heater. My forward heater works on high and low. My warning override button works. My stop arm, my crossing gate, my big reds do come on. My crossing arm gate button does work. It cancels out my crossing gate. And now I come back and I will turn off my warning override button, and it does cancel everything back out. My amber lights indicator does work. My door switch, the middle notch, it opens out my stop arm, my big reds, and my crossing gate. And my indicator right here does light up, so it does work. Now I'm going to open my door. My door does open. My step wheel light is not on, so now I will turn on my headlights. My step wheel light does work. Now I will shut my door, and I will cancel everything out. My strobe light is on, and I would check it when I check my back hatch. My heated mirror indicator light does work, and I would only use this in inclement weather to defrost my mirrors. My step wheel heater works on high and low. My windshield fan, defrost fan, works on high and low, which is behind my mirror. The fan is not hitting the cage. It is securely mounted and all hardware is in place. My left defrost fan works on high and low. The fan is not hitting the cage, and it works. It is securely mounted and all hardware is in place. My dome lights, they do work, and I look at them through my student mirror. So now I'm going to talk about my student mirror. My student mirror is securely mounted and all hardware is in place. There is no illegal stickers. It is not cracked, broken, or missing. My rubber seal around my student mirror is not dry rotted, cracked, broken, or missing. It is secure. Now we'll turn off my dome lights, and I will turn on my hazard indicators. They do work. Now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to turn on a fan, and I'm going to check my noise kill button. My noise kill button did turn off my fan, so it does work. My mirror knobs, they do work, and my mirrors are adjusted for me. Alright, now we are going to check the student passenger compartment area. So now I'm going to unbuckle my seat belt. Okay, what first thing I'm going to look for is I'm looking down my aisle, and I'm making sure that all the hardware, which is your screws, are in place. There's none missing. There is no tripping hazards. And my tread is all secured down on the floor, and it's not loose or torn up. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to check all my seats to make sure they are secured and not loose. Okay, my seats are all secured. They are not loose. They are firmly attached to the floor. Okay? Now I'm going to check my back door. My emergency door is clearly marked. It opens and it closes, and the alarm does sound. My headrest is securely attached. It's not cracked, broken, or missing. and all hardware is in place on it. Now I'm going to do my window, my emergency windows. It is clearly marked. It opens and it closes, and my alarm did sound. This emergency window is clearly marked, opens, closes, and alarm did sound. Now I'm going to check my hatch. So what you'll do, pop it up, pop it up. I'm short, so this is how I do it. Okay, it's unlatched. You will turn it to exit. There is a hole here and a hole here. I put my middle finger in that hole, take my thumbs, press up, pop it up, and my alarm does sound. My strobe light does work. So to bring it back down, push your thumbs in, and it latched, and turn it back to latched. And then pull it side to side. Okay, now I'm going to check my side emergency door. The headrest, it is not cracked, broken, or missing. It is securely mounted and all hardware is in place. My side door is clearly marked. It opens and it closes, and my alarm did sound. This emergency window is clearly marked. It opens and it closes, and the alarm did sound. Now I'm going to move to this hatch. Okay, pop it up. Turn it to exit. Stick my fingers right here because this one does not have holes in it. So I'm just going to grip them right there, push up. The alarm sounded, push back up, and turn it to exit. But I will show you this lip is what that has, this lip has to set in. It has to go in this notch. So, like that. Then you close it and close it. Now I'm going to do this window. It is clearly marked, opens and closes, and the alarm does sound. And you are to check these emergency exits and your hatches every day when you do your pre-trip. Now I'm going to ask the examiner to step off the bus, and I will ask them to check the front of my bus, my external lights, to make sure they are working. So we are going to make sure that my high beams are working. So my light has to be on here. My high beams do work. I will have them check my left turning signal, my right turning signal, my four-way hazards. I will have them check my big ambers, and I will have them check my big reds and my stop arm in the front of my bus. Now we're going to go back and check the rear of the bus. So I will have the examiner check my brake lights, my reverse lights, my four-way hazard lights, my left turn or my right turn signal, my left turn signal. And the whole time you're doing this, you're going to be watching him out your mirror right here. They will be standing right back there. My amber lights, my big red lights,
Now we're on the outside of the bus, and we are going to start with our approach. And as we're walking towards the bus, we're checking to make sure that the bus is not leaning to the left or the right. If it is, that could mean a flat tire broken shock, or just uneven ground. Then we're going to check for leaks underneath the bus. That would be, you're going to check for fuel, transmission fluid, coolant, or oil, any of those that could be underneath the bus. Then we're going to check on the sides of the bus. We're going to make sure that it's clear of any tree limbs, any low-hanging wires, anything like that. We're going to start at the top of the bus. We're going to check our 3 clearance lights at the top. They're amber in color. They are securely mounted, all hardware in place. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. Then we're going to check our school bus sign. It is clean and clear, clearly legible. It is not cracked, torn, peeling, or missing. Check your amber lights at the top, your big yellows, and your big reds. Make sure they are securely mounted. All hardware is in place. They are not cracked, broken, or missing. Move down to your windshield. It is clean and clear, securely mounted, all hardware in place. It is not cracked or broken, and there are no illegal stickers. It is clean and clear. Then check the seal around your windshield and make sure that it is securely mounted and it is not dry rotted, torn, cracked, or missing. So we're moving to the side. Okay. Check your mirrors. We're going to make sure they are securely mounted. Your brackets are not bent, broken, or missing. All hardware is in place. Your flat mirror, your convex mirror. They are securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or missing. All hardware in place. The wires in here are not exposed. They are not burned, frayed, or torn. Check your windshield wiper. It is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It has good tension to it. My windshield wiper blade is not dry rotted. It is not cracked, torn, frayed, or missing. My hose is not dry rotted, cracked, broken, or missing. I'm going to check my hood latch here. It is securely mounted. All hardware in place. It is pliable. It is not dry rotted, cracked, frayed, torn, or missing. And open your hood latch. My turn signal here is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is red on the back. It is amber in color on the front. It is not cracked, broken, or missing. My crossover mirror here is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. My mirror here is clean and clear, not cracked, chipped, broken, or missing. And the seal around it is not dry rotted, cracked, torn, frayed, or missing. My headlight, my turn signal, my parking light, they're all clean and clear, not cracked, broken, or missing. My heater plug is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. I have 3 prongs. None are missing. Nothing is burned, broken, or missing. Securely mounted. My crossing gate is securely mounted. Not cracked, broken, or missing. All hardware is in place. My grill is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is clean, not cracked, broken, or missing, and clear of any debris. I'm going to come around to this side and unlatch my hood latch here. When you're ready, once you've unlatched the other hood latch, I'll go ahead and open your hood. Come around to your driver's side and we'll start on this side. Start at the top. Try to work your way down. That way you don't miss anything. A lot of skipping and you are liable to miss a lot of steps. So starting at the top, I'm checking my firewall. There is nothing burned or frayed, no debris. I'm checking all my wires. Nothing is burnt, frayed, or exposed. Check all your hoses. There's no cracks, leaks, or bubbles. Then move down to your air compressor. It is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is not cracked, broken, or leaking. And my air compressor is gear driven. Then my power steering pump is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is not cracked, broken, or leaking. And the power steering pump is also gear driven. Then I'm going to... Okay. Now I'm going to check my transmission. You would check your transmission when the engine is running and the transmission fluid is hot. Then you check your oil. Checking your oil, you check it when the engine is cooled. You would pull the dipstick out, wipe it off, reinsert it, pull it back out again, make sure that your oil is at the proper operating level. I'm going to check my steering chamber, make sure it is securely mounted, it is not cracked, bent, broken, all hardware is in place, and there is no more than a 2-inch play. I'm going to check my power steering fluid reservoir. It is securely mounted. There's no cracks, no leaks. The cap is securely mounted. It's at the proper operating level. The hose, there's no cracks, leaks, or bubbles. The clamps are securely mounted. And our little friend here, if you pre-trip, you would see that it's not supposed to be there. So we're going to hand her off. So, then we're going to move on down to our gearbox. Our gearbox is securely mounted. There's no cracks, no dents, no leaks, and all hardware is in place. The bolts are all securely mounted. My pitman arm is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. It has a castle nut and a cotter key with it as well. All are present. Securely mounted, all hardware is in place. My drag link here is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. My steering knuckle is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. All hardware is in place. And it has the castle nut and the cotter key here as well. Okay, we're going to move here to the frame. My frame is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. There's nothing cracked, bent, or broken. No welds at all. Then we have our leaf springs here. Our leaf springs are securely mounted. They are not cracked, broken, or shifted, and they are securely mounted. All hardware is in place with the U-bolts that are also securely mounted. All hardware is in place, and they are not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. My leaf spring hangers are securely mounted. You have one at each end. Securely mounted. All hardware is in place. They are not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. Okay, I'm going to check my shock. It is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. There's no cracks, no dents, no leaks, and it is fully extended. I'm going to check my brake chamber. It is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. No cracks, no dents, no leaks. And the seal around it is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. Not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. My brake hose is securely mounted. No cracks, no bubbles, no leaks. And my wiring is not burnt, frayed, or exposed. Clamps are all in place here and here. My slack adjuster is securely mounted. It has a cotter key, and it is not broken or missing. The slack adjuster is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. All right, now we're going to move to the inside of the tire. And we have dust covers here, but if we did not have a dust cover, you're going to make sure you're checking the bus for any excessive rust, checking the brake pads, make sure there is no excessive rust or brake dust, making sure that the brake pads do not have less than a 1/4 inch thickness. And we're going to check the brake drum for any discoloration. Check the inside of the tire rim. Make sure that there are no cracks, no dents, no illegal welds. Check your tire walls. Make sure there are no cuts, no bruises, no bubbles, that they are clean and clear. Check your tire tread. Make sure you have no less than 4/32 tread depth. You have even wear. There are no bubbles there. You cannot have recaps on the front of the bus, nor can you have mismatched tires. We're going to move to the front of the bus. The front of the tire. We're going to make sure that the tire rim on the front, there are no cracks, no dents, no illegal welds. Check all your lug nuts to make sure they are all secure. You should not see any shiny silver threads or any rust. That would mean one was loose. Check your hub seal. Make sure it's securely mounted. No cracks, no dents, no leaks. You would feel it here. Make sure these nuts and bolts are secure as well. Check your valve stem. Securely mounted. It is straight. The cap is in place. And you would check the tire pressure using the valve stem and a tire pressure gauge to make sure it's at the proper level. You can again check your brake drum here, make sure it is not discolored and it's at the proper wear. Mud flap. Mud flap, securely mounted, not cut, torn, frayed, missing, it's not dragging the ground, securely mounted, all hardware is in place. Okay, now we're going to check on the door side of the bus, and there's only 5 items that you need to check on this side. Everything else will be the same as the other side. So again, we're going to start at the top, work our way down. We're going to check our coolant reservoir. It is securely mounted. There's no cracks, no dents, no leaks. The cap is secure and it's at the proper operating level. Check the hoses to make sure there are no cracks, no leaks, no bubbles, and the clamps are all in place. Move down to your alternator. Your alternator is securely mounted. The wires are not burned, frayed, or exposed. It is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is belt driven, as you can see with the belt here. Your serpentine belt is securely mounted. It is not cut, torn, frayed, or missing. And when you pull on it, you should not have no more than 3/4 inch play. Move down to your water pump. Your water pump is securely mounted. There's no cracks, no dents, no leaks. It is also belt driven. Move to your windshield washer reservoir. It is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. The cap is secure. It's at the proper operating level. It's full. The hose, there's no dry rot, no cuts, no bruises, no leaks, no bubbles. And the wiring is securely mounted, not burned, frayed, or exposed. And that concludes under the hood. Now we're going to start, once you have completed under the hood, start down the door side of the bus and continue your pre-trip. We start at the top, work your way down. You're going to check your 3 clearance lights at the very top of the bus. You have 2 amber in the front of your rear wheelbase. They're amber in color. The one behind at the end is red in color. They are securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or missing. My windows, they are all clean and clear, not cracked, broken, or missing. The seals around them are all properly secured. All hardware is in place. They are not dry rotted, cut, torn, frayed, or missing. My emergency exit windows are properly marked. One in the front, one in the back. The signs are not cut, torn, frayed, or missing. The reflective tape around the emergency windows, red on the sides, yellow on the top, yellow on the bottom. The reflective tape is not cut, torn, frayed, or missing. Cut. Now we're moving on down. We're going to come to the reflective tape on the side of the bus. It is securely mounted. It is not cut, torn, frayed, or missing, and it extends the entire length of the bus. Here. Check your door light. It is securely mounted. It is not cracked, broken, or missing. Securely mounted. All hardware is in place. We're going to move down to our luggage compartments. We're going to make sure that the hinges are not rusted. They're securely mounted. All hardware is in place. And your luggage compartments, you need to open them. Make sure that it's all clear. And make sure you don't have any surprises under there.
It's nice and dark. Take a nap.
And we're going to let you go. Make sure you check both compartments. Okay. Reflectors, they are securely mounted. You have amber in the front, you have a red in the rear. Make sure they are securely mounted. They are not cracked, broken, or missing. Then we're going to work our way underneath the bus.
You want to make sure it's not cracked, broken, or missing. Secured to the bus, all hardware in place, no leaking. You have the U-straps to make sure that they're in place. Then the next thing you have is your exhaust. You want to make sure that it's not cracked, broken, or missing. Make sure that there's no holes. If there was some holes, you'll have carbon soot or that particular thing. You want to make sure that it is straight. You also want to make sure that the straps on it are secure, all hardware in place. The third thing underneath here would be your frame. The frame on each side, you want to make sure that it is not cracked, broken, or missing. Secured to the bus, you want to make sure that it's straight and that there are no welds. Now the next thing we're going to look at is some components underneath here. First of all, right here is your leaf spring hanger. Again, on everything, you want to make sure it's not cracked, broken, or missing. Secured to the bus, all hardware in place. The bolts are in place. Then attached to the hangers are the leaf springs themselves. You want to make sure that they're not cracked, broken, or missing. Secured to the bus, all hardware in place. You want to make sure that they're not shifted. They need to be stacked on top of each other. Also, you want to make sure that the bolts and the U-bolts are in place. Next thing is the brake chamber. You want to make sure it's not leaking, not cracked, not dented, securely attached, all hardware in place. Coming from the brake chamber are hoses and wires. You want to make sure that the brake hoses are not dry rotted, leaked, or bulging. You want to make sure that all clamps are in place. With the wires, you want to make sure it's not burnt or frayed or no exposed wires. Next, here is your slack adjuster. How do you check that? It's self-adjusting. It should be at a 90-degree angle. To do this, you would need to chalk the wheels first, release the air brakes or the parking brakes, then you would pull on this and there should be no more than 1 inch play. The last thing here is called the push rod. You want to make sure that the push rod is straight, not broken or loose, and you want to make sure that the cotter keys pins are in place. Look is what is called the brake drum and the brake lining. There is a dust cover. And what you would do is you would look for metal shavings, excessive brake dust, leaks such as oil or grease. Make sure there's no cracks, dents, or hoses, and all hardware in place. Next to that, what you can't see is your brake pads on the inside. They should be no less than 1/4 inch thickness. If it's less than that, then they're out of specs.
Right.
Next, we have the bud wheels. That's these two wheels here together. I don't know if you could see that or not, but you want to make sure that there's no spacers and that there are no obstacles between the tires themselves. And while you're looking at the tires, you want to check the tires and make sure that there's no bulges, no bruises, no cuts. And you want to make sure that there's an even tread on the tires. You want to also make sure that there is no less, again, no less than 2 30-seconds depth in the tread. And these can be recapped. Again, the wheels, you're making sure that there's no cuts or bruises on the outside walls to make sure that they're still nice and strong. The next thing you have is the rim. As you work from outside the tire, inside the tire, you want to make sure that it's not cracked, broken, dented, no excessive rust, and if they do have welds, it's factory welds only. The next is you have your lug nuts. You want to make sure that your lug nuts have no excessive rust, no shiny threads. They are tight and secure, and none are missing. They're secured to the bus. Next, you have the rear axle seal. You want to make sure that it is not leaking. The nuts are in place and they're not rusted or loose or missing. All hardware in place. The next is your valve stems. You want to make sure that your valve stem is straight. You want to make sure that it's not leaking. You make sure that the cap is secure, and you would check it with the air pressure tank. Since these are duals back here, we have one down here and the other one is back here. You want to make sure that you can see those. This is your brake drum. You're going to make sure that it's not discolored. This is your cross member. You want to make sure that your cross member is not cracked, broken, or missing. secure to the bus, all hardware in place. And you want to make sure that it is securely attached to the bus. It's this part right here. The next thing we have is the fuel tank. That's this part here. You want to make sure that it is not, you want to make sure that it's secure to the bus, no leaks, no excessive rust, and all hardware in place. Then outside of the fuel tank is what we call the fuel cage. You want to make sure that the cage is securely mounted. You'll make sure that it's not cracked, broken, or missing, and all straps are in place. There's some straps in here that goes across to hold the fuel tank onto the fuel cage itself. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to walk up here. We want to do our airbag. We want to make sure that our airbag is fully inflated, make sure that there's no leaks, and it's securely attached. Next is your shock, which is over here. You want to make sure that your shock is straight, fully extended, securely attached, all hardware in place, and you want to make sure that there's no leaking. Make sure that the fluid that's inside is still in there. If not, if it's leaking, that means the shock is not working properly. Then the next thing we have is called the torsion bar. That is located up here. You want to make sure the torsion bar is straight, not broken, securely attached, all hardware in place.
Now we're going to check our reflective triangles, make sure this compartment as well opens and closes easily. Your hinges are not excessively rusted. All hardware is in place, securely mounted. Check your emergency triangles in here. You should have 3. You should have 3. So we have 3 complete in there.
Good. Okay.
Check your fuel door, securely mounted, opens and closes easily. The hinges are not rusted, securely mounted. All hardware is in place. Your fuel cap is in place. It is secure and tight. And the fuel housing, nothing is cracked, broken, or leaking. And close your door. Okay, now we're going to move on to the back of the bus. And we will start at the top. Your 3 clearance lights at the top, they are red in color. Then you have your big yellows, your big reds. Moving on down, you have your reverse, your tail lights, your brake lights, turn signals and hazards. You have your tail lights, reverse lights, your bus number light. You have your license plate light. They are all securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or missing. All hardware is in place. Clean and clear. We're good. Check your windows. They are all clean and clear, not cracked, chipped, or broken. No illegal stickers. My signs, my school bus sign, my emergency door exit sign, my stop when red lights are flashing, my we stop at railroad crossings, right turn on red prohibited, and my school bus number. They are all clean and clear, nothing cut, torn, frayed, or missing. Open your emergency exit door. Opens and closes. It locks in place easily. Okay. My door seal. It is securely mounted. It is not cut, torn, frayed, or missing. My exhaust should not be more than 1 inch in diameter and should not extend more than 1 inch from the tail end of the bus. Securely mounted, all hardware in place. Oh, holy hell.
And no obstructions.
Sure underneath there for any obstructions. Let's do that again.
Go ahead.
Girl. Let me stick that back in. Oh, stick that back, Tigger.
You didn't check for obstruction.
I always thought mine was right there.
There it is. Okay, now go ahead.
Okay, let's do that.
You come back. Yeah, just do your exhaust next.
Take 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Check your exhaust that it is no more than 1 inch in diameter and does not stick out more than 1 inch from the tail end of the bus. Make sure you lean over and check that you don't have any obstructions whatsoever. Good girl. Okay, now we're going to move on down to the side of the bus. Everything the same is the same down here on this side of the bus as it is on the other side, except for 2 items. We're going to check the side emergency door. We're going to make sure that the window is clean and clear, not cracked, broken, or missing, that the emergency side door sign is not cracked, broken, peeling, or missing. Open your side emergency door. It opens and closes easily. It locks into place. The hinges are not rusted and securely mounted, all hardware in place. The seal around it is not cut, torn, frayed, or missing. I didn't give you this much. We're going to check our stop sign. Our stop sign is securely mounted. All hardware is in place. It is not cracked, broken, or missing. Oh my Lord. My flashing lights. We had a passenger. My lights are securely mounted. All hardware is in place. They are not cracked, broken, or missing. If I had the LED letters that lit up, I could not have more than 3 lights out per letter. My stop sign itself is clearly legible. It is not cracked, peeling, or missing. My wiring, nothing is burned, frayed, or exposed, securely mounted. My boot is securely mounted. It is not cut, torn, frayed, dry rotted, or missing. My cable is intact. It is not cut, frayed, broken, or missing. And I'm going to check my 3 cotter keys. I have 3. 1, 2, 3. They are all securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or missing. And that concludes our CDL Pre Trip. He was slow.